What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new video. So in this video we are going to try and get done with this planter, or get pretty close to it. We've been waiting on the motors, the hydraulic motors for the vacuum fans. They're actually in, so I might go run down and grab them today. So it would be these here. We're gonna get all that put back together, get the fans put back on, and I have a little bit of zip tying to do yet. So all the original seed tube wires were on there still, and I ended up just going through and ripping all that off, as well as some of the extra precision planting stuff from like the downforce and all that, all the stuff that we weren't using. There's still stuff up there for that, but at this current time I don't know what's what, and I don't want to unplug anything more, just in case that it's a necessity to run what we have on here still. I'm gonna figure that out at a later date, but I want to push on trying to get this done here so we can get the other planter in here, get that done, and then we can start our sprayer project. And while that's in here, then the shop will have more room in here to, you know, do the fertilizer spreader, do all the oils and filters and stuff on tractors, so on and so forth. So took and went through and cleaned up the wires and hydraulic hoses on the front here. It is not perfect by any means. It's a lot better than what it was. It does look a little bit messy because I still have to get this on. Wanting to make some sort of bracket for right there, but for now I'm just gonna re-weld a bolt back on here and then just put that back on and run the lines through just so that it holds them up and somewhat organized. While I was in town, I forgot to go and get zip ties as well. That's why I need to start making lists for stuff. But I need a bigger zip tie because this was hanging down on the bottom and we wanted to move it up on top here so that this row unit doesn't have any chance of hitting those hoses some way. That is one of the wires for connections for the tube on this row. So it looks like they just, it catches, because everything shows up on the monitor. Somehow, some way, they have the wires tied just enough that it reads. Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Other than that, put boxes back on. And then we also, this here, from the last video. So this is the no-till coulter mount and bearing. We just took the no-till coulter out, but we ended up just JB welding around those edges to kind of fill it in, and now it seems like it's gonna be good. We'll see how long this lasts, but we also dropped this down to a 9/16 bolt. Other than the 5/8, we were able to get 9/16 out of it, which was great, so we didn't have to cut anything off or even get a new one. But we want to see how long this is going to last, because we're not 100% sure what's going to happen there, how long it's going to last without breaking. Run it until it breaks, I guess. So all those beams there came out of this. Yeah, there was this one here. So they were all underneath this divider. I think those are in there to help it funnel down into the bottom better, because these boxes, from the sounds of it, had problems with there being a ton of beans left in there, so that weren't getting to the meters. I still have to clean these out a little bit more, but I had them soaking in soap, trying to get that smell out of there. But it'll probably take a lot more than that. I absolutely hate the smell of rotten soybeans. Who knows how long those were in there too. So that was a fun project, but I still got a little bit more to clean up, but the worst of it's done. All right, so I am headed down to Janesville right now to go and get all these parts for the planter. We have some other stuff in there too for other equipment, but I'm gonna head down and grab that stuff so we can get that thing hopefully wrapped up here today.
Personally, but he said you still occupy your time.
We got all of what we need, along with 6 5-gallon pails of hydraulic oil for the sprayer. we get all of our High-Tran in bulk. The sprayer takes a different hydraulic oil than High-Tran, so we got that stuff in the back for when we do our rear main project. So we got the rear main for the sprayer, and then filters, and then this is the mirror that fell apart on the 215, the mirror bracket. So we're gonna take and get that thrown on too here. So what I just did might have been dumb and a waste of money, but it works. And now I don't really have to run to the store tomorrow to get any more zip ties. I just took 2 of the bigger zip ties, added them together. So this might just work. So, problem solved. We're gonna lower this planter down. I'm just checking the oil here because I have one of them phobias about, as maybe you could call it, about an engine not having oil in it, because one of these engines wouldn't be the most cheap thing to replace. So I try and take and check engine oils as much as I can, because I would hate for something like that to happen. I know nobody drained it, and you know, I know that I didn't drain it, but it's just one of those things. That's a problem that I have, just double checking everything. So I'm only gonna lower this down just a little bit, just enough that I can get and reach over the top and zip tie some of that stuff up quick and start putting boxes on. But there's 2 mounts on each side that fix that whole frame into the carriage, so it's not going like this. And I don't know if you call them bushings or the little mount parts, they you know, unbolt and bolt in, because they are, or could be, a wear piece. So we actually took one out, and we just want to make sure they're set right. So I'm going to lower it down just before those settle in there, and I will show you guys here when we get out. So I am not going to put these 2 boxes on, and same with down there, but I have 1 box that I need to put a new extension on yet, and then I also have those 3 boxes that are out there to finish cleaning out yet. I don't know how I'm going to get that smell out of there. I made a little concoction yesterday of car cleaner and of car cleaner or car soap cleaner or whatever, for the exterior, as well as some fabric cleaner, odor stuff, and kind of mix it up in a spray bottle and sprayed it down and let it soak in there. The other one, I'm going to knock out that little funnel thing in there, so that, and then put that, make sure it's all cleaned out in the bottom there too. The other one seemed like it was sealed pretty good, so I'm gonna do that towards the end of the day so I'm not stinking the rest of the day. I'll also spray that stuff in there, that odor eliminator or whatever, and see if that helps a little bit. But I think all it's gonna take is running a few loads of soybeans through them. But I guess that smell probably won't go away for a good long time. So, but these are the mounts I'm talking about. So they slip down into here, and that's basically their, you know, the guide or whatever. So we're gonna get them greased up and make sure they're settled in there right. So I am pretty sure that I'm running pretty low on zip ties as well. So maybe I have to go and do a zip tie run. But I had some longer ones, but they were orange, so I just wanted to keep it a neutral color. I don't know, so it didn't look out of place, but just gonna grab a few of these ones here. So we're doing the finishing touches on that planter right now. We got all these boxes cleaned up. This one here, we're gonna have to get a new box because this is kind of worn out or worn through, and this is all cracked on the bottom. And instead of trying to fix it up, we're just gonna get a new one there. So we got all the boxes that were in here are on the planter now. So once we get this fan thing done, pretty much done with this, it'll be done enough that we can get this out of here and get the other planter in. I also got this somewhat organized in here too. Also, this wire that came off of the fold box, I put a connection on it so we can plug it in straight into a power port here in the cab. Just kind of did a little bit of cable management here. This isn't going to be exactly how this stays forever, but this will just kind of get us through this year. And then we have a mount for the iPad. This is actually supposed to be for a Gen 3, but this is all I had laying around. And then eventually down the line, I'd like to get a 700 for in here. And we have a 262, I believe, receiver on here. I'm butchering that number, but and possibly get a 372 receiver for there. And we'll see how accurate this one is. This is usually a little less accurate with the WAS than the other ones were, but the last couple of years WAS has just been kind of bad as it is. So we ran a lower version of RTX on the corn planter last year, and we also got a 392 receiver for the 215. That helped a lot. We didn't go to, I think it was called, I believe it was called Range Point RTX. We didn't go with the higher version of RTX just because of the amount of money, but that Range Point RTX seemed to work really good just for what we want to use it for. So if we were strip tilling or trying to run rows with the sprayer, then we'd probably invest in that. I think it was Wednesday when I videoed last. We got the corn planter in here that day. Then I kind of started working on it a little bit, and then we had a friend show up, and I pretty much ended the day. Plus, it was like 4:30 already, so usually we're done about 5 o'clock if we don't have anything super pressuring. Then yesterday I kind of had a bunch of other stuff to do, errands to run, so on and so forth, and it was raining and kind of crappy out, which doesn't really matter with this. One of those days where there's a lot of crap that I kind of had to get done, so kind of screwed around doing that. Perfect day for it. It's Friday. We're gonna be working on this thing. Hopefully gonna get the most of it done. I kind of already started here this morning, working on the row units. Some of them have to get cleaned out a little bit. This thing didn't get washed very well. Just gonna go through and kind of tidy up a few things. Then throw our speed tubes and all the corn parts into the meters, and then this thing set back up and go through each row, make sure the discs look good for the touching point on the front, and you have to go through and make sure all of our gauge wheels are tied up against the opening disc. So we take the belts out of the speed tubes so they're not sitting in here for like 11 months out of the year. Just helps them last longer. Just take them out and then we'll hang them up, you know, like this somewhere so that they're not, you know, they don't have tension on them. But I know as I'm going through these gauge wheels, we're eventually, I think next year we're gonna have to do new gauge wheels because some of these are getting worn out.
Portion of that trade deal. You said the city it's not overwhelming, but each time we go higher, and the farmers are the same everywhere. Now it's looking good. We're at the front end over the next 4 or 5 weeks, depending on the planting date.
We're just airing up these bags for the reveal. We're gonna go through and see if there's anything leaking anywhere. While we're switching these around, so they originally had metal fittings on them. We're switching them to plastic fittings and running them around the front, just so nothing's super tight. This one here, I ended up cutting a little bit extra line for it, but before we start going through and doing all of these, we want to make sure that nothing is leaking with these black hoses here. If they are, then we're gonna have to address that. But while we're at it, while we're waiting for these to air up, might as well see if everything looks right up in here. Okay, yep, those are starting to lift now. I just had to flip that up and down. So everything looks to be good with the planter. Everything is showing. That's perfect. I love it when that's when we see that. So, and aside from not having any GPS, just because we're in a building, we're all set to go. So then I'm gonna wait until we get closer to spring to re-update this this monitor here, the Gen 3. I updated it last year and I had a ton of issues with that update. So I'm hoping here this year, once we get closer to planting, that the new update is figured out. So, because that was frustrating. Let's drop it down to 0. So now we're letting air out. So if we want down pressure on it, we'll add, you know, like 10 psi to it. They're pumping up now. And then if we want to lift them up, you know, we put negative or lift pressure into them. Alright, so row 11 has a bag that leaks a little bit. Only when you pull down on a row though. So this is row 10. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up. So it looks like it's the bag because everything around this fitting looks good. I took some Dawn dish soap and some water and put it in a little spray bottle. So we can go through and see what's all leaking. These are the metal fittings that we're taking out, and you can see that they're leaking pretty good there. So, but this is going to be the end result right here. That is going to wrap this video up. Well, also too, before I forget, we got our underglow lighting that we're going to try and put on here for this spring. I think we've had that for a year and a half now. We just haven't got to putting it on. So that's one thing I want to do, is have that just so that it looks cool, as well as it'll actually help being able to see underneath the frame and have just a little bit more light down in that area, because that's usually kind of a dark spot. So there's actually a use for those as well, other than looking cool. So, but with all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will catch you in the next one.